And China's push to globalize its currency could get a boost in the next month or so. The International Monetary Fund is contemplating including the renminbi in a special drawing rights basket. The SDR serves as a special currency to be used to supplement reserves of the countries included in it. Now, currently, the currencies of the US, Japan, the EU, and the UK are in this basket. But there are signs that the yuan could be joining that elite group. The yuan already overtook its Japanese counterpart, the yen, to become the fourth most used currency in the world. Beijing has also launched the China International Payment System. Now, it works like a worldwide payment scheme to encourage greater use of the yuan in trade and investment. And Beijing is also extending the onshore yuan's trading hours to encourage its use in Europe. All right, so for more on the Chinese currency, we're joined by Einar Tangen, live from Beijing. He is a current affairs commentator and president of IMCF. Einar, good to see you. Thanks for joining us.
Well, thank you, Michelle.
So, Einar, China making some steps here. The central bank launched an international payment system last week. This allows for yuan-denominated payments across a variety of transactions. How significant is this?
Well, it's very. I mean, what you're starting to see is Beijing is putting together a set of alternative international mechanisms for trading yuan. I mean, they're not relying so much on SWIFT. This is a very, very big move. People should be paying attention to it because what it does is the dollar hegemony has always been based on controlling the apparatus by which money moves around and which banks use. By having this alternate, you're creating this kind of separate and parallel mechanism for moving things, which is centered around the yuan.
So do you see this then as a challenge to the US dollar's denomination in dominance rather in cross-border trade?
Well, you know, this is always the bugaboo that people bring up. It's not really a challenge to the U.S. It's just times have gone on. The post-World War II economy and mechanisms that were serving very well after the war have gotten old. They've gotten stale. There have been new things. We're now looking at a multipolar political and economic world where there's going to be alternatives. Ironically, it should push these entities closer together as they have to cooperate on various things. You know, we've seen this last time on the political front at the UN, where Obama needed China both for Iran and for the climate change issues. So you're going to see a lot more of these issues as you go forward. As these entities develop economically, the political issues will follow.
Well, Einar, you talk about change, a lot of change for the yuan. It's now the third most traded currency on the EBS platform. And the payment network SWIFT said that the yuan is now the fourth most used currency in ordinary day-to-day payments worldwide. Why the increase of the use?
Well, the increase reflects the value. I mean, last week we had, or yesterday we had a number. China has now surpassed the U.S. the most number of billionaires. It has now passed the U.S. in the size of its middle class. The economic movement going eastward has been happening for a long, long period of time. It's just simply the realities. I mean, the second largest economy in the world is growing at I don't care if it's 6.5 or 8%. The issue is it's growing at a very fast rate, and this is moving economic opportunities and the wealth line further east.
Well, China is also planning to extend yuan trading to keep the market open during the European Day. Part of the push for the currency to be included in the International Monetary Fund's special drawing rights basket. Why does China want to be included in the IMFs SDR? What does it mean for China to be a reserve currency?
Well, I mean, there are a number of benefits. First off, it's a notational system. It's not like China actually puts money in. It's a reserve system, and you accrue or don't accrue interest based on how close you are to that. I mean, this is a replacement. People should understand this was a replacement for gold reserves, and it's a way of stabilizing the economic situation. Originally, everything was pegged to the dollars. Post World War II, that did not work out. So they came up with a more flexible. China is now entering that in phase. The sheer number and amount of Chinese trades in goods and services going both ways mandates. You know, Christine Lagarde said it's not a question of if, it's just a question of when China will be in there. The main point, though, for China is efficiency. With this in there, it has gained international acceptance, and the efficiency of what it can do its trades at will increase dramatically. It will lower risk. This is all good for China.
Well, you say that the IMF is saying it's not a question of if, it's a question of when. But what does the RMB need to do? What does the People's Bank of China need to do for the yuan to be included?
Well, this is the issue. There's a small laundry list of things. Most of it was allowing the yuan to float freely, and the second thing is transparency. And the Chinese government is moving on both fronts. Things are happening a little bit more quickly than things. I mean, you've seen what's been happening with the preparations for Xi's visit to the UK. London is really embracing this. This is a sign of economic times. Previously, Europe generally sided with the US, but now with the opportunities moving eastward, you see a kind of scramble as they go in that direction. So this is just speeding up the process of acceptance. If you can issue bonds, yuan bonds in London, and if you have a direct stock connect and these types of things, these are the kind of issues which go to the internationalization of a currency, and this is what China is pushing. So transparency and also allowing the yuan to kind of float a little bit are the main issues right now.
All right. Thank you, as always, for your insight. We're going to have to leave it there.